Welcome back to the Listen Up Girl podcast. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman. Before I get into today's news, I wanted to ask if you could please go to the description of this podcast and click on the audience survey link. It only takes 10 minutes or less and helps me understand who my audience is and what you're looking for in this show and my other podcast, Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay. But in today's episode, we are covering stories that cut across queer identity, safety, politics, culture, and resistance. From how people are actually identifying on hookup apps, to rising fears for transgender Americans, to political attacks on trans care here in the U.S. and abroad. So let's get started. Our first story is Sniffies data challenges assumptions about sexual identity. A new 2025 download report from the gay cruising app Sniffies is challenging long-held assumptions about who actually uses the platform. Despite its reputation as a gay hookup app, most Sniffies users do not identify as gay. According to the report, 42.3% identify as bisexual or bi-curious, while another 25% identify as straight or straight-curious. The data underscores a broader cultural shift. Sexual identity is becoming more fluid, less label-driven, and more behavior-based, especially in digital spaces. It also highlights how platforms historically seen as gay are increasingly being used by people who don't identify that way at all. I don't know if I believe that 42% are bisexual or bi-curious, though. I think they are just trying to play it off because they think that's going to turn somebody on. Or they don't know who they really are yet. But that's my opinion. Next, trans Americans report highest level of public safety fear. New data from Pew Research Center paints a sobering picture of safety concerns across the LGBTQ+ community, with transgender Americans facing the highest levels of fear. According to the survey, 70% of transgender people say they have feared for their public safety. That compares to 52% of gay and lesbian people and 28% of bisexual people. These fears come amid escalating anti-trans rhetoric, legislation, and public harassment nationwide. Advocates warn that political targeting and cultural misinformation are translating directly into fear and increasingly real-world harm. Next, Gen Z LGBTQ+ women more likely to identify as bisexual. A new study cited by The Advocate, analyzing users of the dating app Zoe, finds that LGBTQ+ Gen Z women are now more likely to identify as bisexual than lesbian. According to the data, 45% identify as bisexual, while 42% identify as lesbian, a reversal from patterns seen in older generations. Researchers say this reflects a generational comfort with fluidity and rejection of rigid labels, as well as changing social norms around attraction, identity, and community. And our next story is AI disinformation targets Maine Governor Janet Mills. Republicans under fire after circulating a fake AI-generated video targeting Maine Governor and U.S. Senate candidate Janet Mills. The video falsely depicts Mills giving a young boy an estrogen kit without parental consent. Mills has long been an outspoken advocate for trans rights, and critics say the video is a clear attempt to weaponize fear and misinformation ahead of the election. The incident adds to growing concerns about AI-driven political disinformation, particularly when it targets trans people and those who support them. Next, House passes anti-trans care bill with help of 3 Democrats. In a deeply controversial vote, 3 Democrats, Henry Seller, Vincent Gonzalez Jr., and Don Davis, joined Republicans to pass Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's bill banning gender-affirming care for transgender youth. Had those Democrats voted no, the bill would not have passed. Greene's legislation would criminalize doctors who provide gender-affirming care to minors and make it harder for trans adults to access care. A separate bill from Representative Dan Crenshaw would ban Medicaid from covering any trans-related care for minors. While Greene's bill is considered less likely to pass the Senate, advocates warn the votes themselves normalize increasingly extreme attacks on trans health care. Next, we go to Russia, where Russia blocked Rainbow Railroad website and intensifies LGBTQ plus crackdown. Rainbow Railroad announced that Russia has officially blocked access to the organization's website following a Supreme Court ruling labeling the international LGBTQI plus movement extremist organization. The group says this move is part of a decade-long relation, including Russia's gay propaganda law bans on affirming gender care, legal gender recognition, and family rights for trans people. Today, any public discussion of sexual orientation or gender identity is effectively criminalized. Rainbow Railroad has helped evacuate LGBTQI plus people from Russia for years, including during an anti-gay purge, and reports that Russia remains one of its top 10 countries for emergency assistance requests. I don't get why Russia's doing that. If they don't want the gay people there, let them leave. Like, why block the website? Do you want to keep them there to torture them? To make them unhappy or uncomfortable or unsafe? It's really fucked up. Next, Representative Sarah McBride slams GOP priorities on healthcare. Congresswoman Sarah McBride is sounding the alarm as Affordable Care Act subsidies are set to expire in just 2 legislative days. McBride pointed out that House Republicans brought forward 2 bills targeting trans kids and 0 bills addressing healthcare costs. Her message was blunt. While millions face rising healthcare expenses, GOP leaderships continue to prioritize culture war legislation over affordability and access. And she is right. They are all focusing on the wrong thing. Next, Nicki Minaj faces backlash over pro-Trump turn, which this story still shocks me every time I report on a new one. Once celebrated as an LGBTQ plus ally, Nicki Minaj is now facing mounting backlash as she continues to align herself with Donald Trump, MAGA politics, and the far-right influencers. In recent months, Minaj has gone from publicly criticizing Democrats, particularly over trans youth, to actively participating in conservative political spaces. Most recently, she appeared alongside Erica Kirk at Turning Point USA America Fest Summit 2025. A gathering closely associated with extremist rhetoric, anti-LGBTQ policy positions, and election denialism. Minaj has also served as a de facto mouthpiece for Trump administration in international forums, including remarks connected to the United Nations, further solidifying what fans see as a dramatic political realignment. For longtime supporters, especially queer fans who helped build her cultural legacy, the shift has been jarring. A detailed timeline now circulating online tracks Minaj's evolving relationship with Trump and MAGA politics from 2010 to today, underscoring just how far she's moved from her once pro-LGBTQ plus stance. I, myself, am taking her off of all of my playlists and removing all her music from my Spotify, and I'm never listening to her music again because she is a bitch. Next, New Zealand hate crimes result in light sentences. In New Zealand, 3 young men who lured victims through Grindr, assaulted them, and posted attacks online in catch a predator-style videos have received light sentences despite the judges acknowledging the assaults were hate crimes. Thomas Bull, Patrick Maloney, and Ethan Jess were sentenced between 8.5 and 10.5 months of home detention, a ruling that has sparked outrage among LGBTQ plus advocates calling for stronger accountability. And those are the stories shaping our community right now, from identity and culture to safety, politics, and resistance. As always, stay informed. In one way, we can protect each other. If you think this episode will resonate with somebody, please be sure to share it. Also, please leave a comment and a rating for this podcast. I'd really appreciate it. I'm Zach Randles-Friedman, and this is Listen Up Girl, and thanks for listening.